Hello?
Hello?
Hey, this is Lunda. I was able to get in. I was having issues.
Welcome.
Is Jessica on?
Jessica was on, but I think probably she's having some technical issues.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, this was Jessica. I accidentally dropped.
Hey, Jessica, this is Lunda. I'm able to get in.
Okay, perfect. All right, so sorry for the slight delay there with our start time, but nonetheless, we are all here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have the pleasure of having Dr. Lucas Shallua from Mecca University on the call. And we also have the pleasure of having our chairman of the board for DICOTA, Lunda Asmani, on the call. So at this point in time, I will turn it over to Lunda, who will introduce the speaker as well as welcome you, the guest on this call, and give you a little bit of an update on DICOTA. Karibu, Lunda.
Asante sana. Well, thanks everybody for making this call. These webinar series have been very successful. It's another way. One of the things as DICOTA we were challenged is to provide some additional values and additional opportunities to share information with a great diaspora community and not to just solely depend on our conventions and maybe our emails and those types of things. And so this is a great initiative really driven by the membership because this is something that they really wanted. And so we've had a number of these. Today's focus is looking at ourselves. We are the diaspora, and so there are so many wonderful things being done by members of the diaspora in the United States, and we're honored to have Dr. Shallua be the inaugural diaspora speaker, and we're excited to have him. He's been a great supporter of DICOTA. He's been in attendance at DICOTA, and for those of you that missed him, he had a very dynamic session at the recently concluded DICOTA conference in the Dallas area. So that's what we have going on. Additionally, just to give an update of DICOTA as the organization, we are getting ready towards we will be having DICOTA elections, and so we will be sharing that information with you, the realities and the process, and the types of opportunities that exist in terms of leading DICOTA as an organization. And so I don't want to take up too much time off of Dr. Shallua's scheduled time. I will pass it either back to Jessica, and we can take it from there. Jessica, thank you so much for putting this together. I know you've worked tirelessly, as flawless as possible, and so really like to thank you for your initiative and for your steadfast support and tireless efforts in making this this webinar a success. Asante sana.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you so very much, Lunda. And I really want to thank the leadership of DICOTA for this wonderful opportunity to share a little experience that we have gone through. I think it's a good thing to do. I was talking to Jessica, and I said, you guys are awesome. Your leadership is quite, you know, you're setting up a standard so high. Those who are coming after you will have tough time to fit in your shoes. So really we want to praise you for your good work. Again, I want to thank God for this opportunity that I have to share a little bit about Mount Eagle College and University and how it came into existence and what are the lessons that we have learned, and to share with you some of the challenges that we have faced or we're still facing, and probably that will encourage and motivate somebody that you are not on your own. We are all going through what you're going through, and probably we can learn together. We can, you know, lift and sustain each other in the journey. A little bit about the background of the school. We were established back in 2010, around February, as an institute. We started with 5 students, and we were licensed and registered with the North Carolina Community College System Proprietary Board as a private school. And our focus was to offer certificates and diplomas in allied health and assisting nursing area. Since then, we've experienced a tremendous growth, and we became a college after 2 years. And then back in 2018, after, you know, back and forth waiting and submitting documents and fighting left and right, we got our approval from the University System of North Carolina to become a full-fledged university. Glad, and we really are happy, because that is our goal. We decided to start as an institute, but maintaining our goal to become a university, because that was the original idea, but the strategy was to start as an institute. So currently we are offering associate degrees and bachelor's degrees in health sciences, but the plan is to diversify even more. So far we have already graduated plus or minus 6,000 students, who most of them, I'll say about 90 to 95%, have acquired employment locally, and others have, you know, continued with education with other institutions, either here in North Carolina or in other states. We were blessed to have a campus facility which we purchased from a local university which closed their programs and decided to centralize. So our facility, we have a facility of about 30,000 square footage in 10 acres here in Winston-Salem with lecture halls, with classroom offices, administrative offices, and auditoriums and things like that. I want to invite those who will have time to come and visit us. We will be glad to give you a tour and also to, recruit you as one of our students if you are inclined in, upgrading your knowledge. And we do have some campuses in other cities. There is a nearby city here called Greensboro. It's about 30 minutes away from Winston-Salem. We have a campus there, and we are planning to establish another campus out of state in Virginia. We are in the process of doing that. Once that is in place, we will report back to you, and those who are in Virginia area, they will be able to take advantage of that campus. And just a little bit of information. As a university, we do have a subsidiary business which is attached to the university. We have a healthcare business which we also take advantage of our students. So we employ some of our students to work for this staffing agency. So we staffing hospitals and assisted living and nursing homes and places, even homes where they need care. In terms of what we're planning to do as a university, I would say our goal is to become a university of choice to all members of the diaspora community. And not only that, our goal is to put a campus in every country in developing world where education is of a necessity and it's a scarce commodity. Our goal is to put a campus there and help these kids go to school and get the education and realize their dreams. Right now we are designing a campus in Dar es Salaam. We're still in drawing. We're doing the paperwork, and we are working with Tanzania Commission of Universities, and we are working with architects to put a campus in Kigamboni in Dar es Salaam. And it is our prayer that in the next few years we will have a full-fledged campus there, enrolling students from, bachelor's and undergraduate studies, undergraduate and graduate studies in different fields. Now, let's get back to, that is just for those who don't know who we are, what we are doing, but how did we get there? I think that is the essence of this webinar. It's, how did we get there? I am a firm believer of a philosophy that you may change your direction so many times, but try to maintain focus on your destination. That to me is, I would say, a philosophy. And I had my share of going all different directions. I've gone southwards, I've gone downwards, I've gone up, I've gone forward, but the only direction that I resisted to go was going backwards. Why am I saying this? I trained a little bit about my personal background. I trained as a veterinarian, a veterinary doctor. That's my profession, and I practice as a vet, and also I taught at the university level at Sokoine University of Agriculture, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, But life was not that easy. So I decided to, head eastwards, and I went to southern part of Africa. I went to Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, South Africa, all these areas, looking and searching for green pastures. And life was not very easy for me. Many times I found myself either jobless. There were times I was homeless. Many times, even here in the United States, I had to do very humble jobs. Remember when I came, I worked at construction sites and I volunteered without pay for, many months in different areas. And there were times I would, pass by weeks or months with nothing in my pocket. And my wife used to work, clean dishes at Pizza Hut. So I would say that, always try to, maintain a focus on a destination. And our destination to us, myself and my wife, they provided time, space, and opportunity. We will have to put together an academic campus to help those who struggle and are underprivileged not to go through what we went through. And I will also say, to go on a positive side, also I had my share to contribute in a workforce as a professional, and also to make an impact as as a university professor, impacting students and helping them to realize their dreams. And that to me was also very fulfilling, because that was my passion. My biggest passion is to become a teacher. In terms of going forward, I would say that one thing which happened to me, and I'm very thankful, is that I had the ability to leverage where I was as a professor to propel myself forward, to do what I wanted to do. Being hired as a professor in a corporate world, there is so much that you can do to fulfill or to make your dream come true. And I would say that there are some limitations depending on how you are wired. I am wired to be a person who is free. Ideas run into my mind, and I like to make things come true. I like to, to be in control. That is my passion. And being hired somewhere, sometimes I felt like my hands were tied and I could not really do what I wanted to do. And as I've said, the only direction that I decided I will not go was to go backwards. In terms of what made us to be where we are, I will ascertain it to a realization that in life, there are moments, let me call these moments epiphany. To me, an epiphany was a realization of what I call the 4 levels or 4 ways of earning money. I know there are people who teach this a lot, but once I was exposed to this, I had that aha moment, and I call it, or they call it, 4 levels of cash flow, or 4 levels of earning money, or 4 cash flow quadrants. And to those who are familiar, they are given abbreviation of ESBI, meaning, the E stands for you are employed by somebody, and you are working for money. basically you're selling your time, talent, and all that you have for somebody else, and in exchange, you know, you make money. And there is less security there, there is less freedom there, and you are perpetuating somebody else's vision and goals in life. Though your vision, I mean, your goals are also being met, but you're doing it because you don't have any other alternative. Now, the second level is S, which we call that self-employed. And I realized that in this level, that is where one works for himself or for herself, and there is much more freedom. That is when you start pursuing your own dreams. And when I realized that there is a difference between working for somebody and working for yourself, I started making baby steps towards creating an environment for me to work for myself. And on the fourth level, it is believed that, you know, you establish a business. The B there stands for business. You're establishing a business, and you're having other people work for you. And you provide leadership, direction, guidance, and you hire talent, and you hire professionalism. There is a collective genius here whereby together you achieve your dreams and vision at a larger scale. And the last level, they believe that it is an investment level whereby you let the money work for you while you're pursuing your passion, the thing that you're really created to do. I'm still working on getting there. It is a lifelong goal. And I would say in terms of transition, many people ask, so when do I really quit my job and you know, I start my own business, or I start pursuing my own dream? I would say that you know, there are some dynamics there. It is not something that you have to quickly jump into it. I was employed here in the United States for about 10 to 12 years. I was still working for somebody before I, you know, broke loose and start working for myself. So I would say, you know, don't yet quit your job. When we have time, we will talk about, you know, the right time of quitting. It's when your other business or your idea finances at least half of the salary you get from where you work. Then you know, if you put some more time there, you're kind of like ready to sustain yourself. Otherwise, you might find yourself, you know, in trouble if you do it very quickly. And it is, as I've said, it's a process. It's not not an event. It's not something that you need to do very quickly. And to transition from self-employed to start a business, also there are some dynamics there. There is a lot of demands in terms of growth, in terms of, you know, guts, you know, daring. You have to dare doing different things in different ways. And there is risk involved into that. And there is a lot of planning, strategic thinking, and setting goals that are very realistic. And the going is rough, I have to promise you that. But the good thing is that the rewards are, you know, the results are quite rewarding. And I would say that it's quite an experience to start realizing your dream and putting together a business and seeing that there are people who believe in what you're doing and they buy into vision and they start, you know, walking the journey with you. And again, I say it's not an event, it is a process. And you might ask, how did you start? Where do you start? What do you do? The quick answer for that, I would say, I personally used what we call a principle of leveraging your passion. And what do I mean? The good thing is you need first to know what is your passion. Why do you do what you do? You ask yourself the fundamental questions of life. What do I love to do? Why do I do what I do? And then try to do an inventory of yourself. What you have, what are your skills, and what set of qualifications do you have, what areas you need to improve yourself, what is your talent, and then leverage on what you're. And I got an idea from a student, basically. This is how Mount Eagle University started. It was an idea from a student. I was teaching in a local college. I was teaching nurses, and a student told me that I could monetize my class notes, and that dawned into my mind. And she said, you know, we really like your notes and the way you teach, we really love it. If you put that for $1, somebody will be able to pay for that. And to me, that was, you know, a game changer. I started monetizing those class notes. I put them on the website, started selling them. Then I developed to write CDs and write a little software which I sold my notes and the things that I was teaching. Then I made DVDs. Before I realized, I started putting together online platforms for universities, colleges, and schools to mirror what they were teaching online, and that was a business. And I helped so many people to start colleges until when I started my own. So it is a process. It involved a lot of learning, a lot of listening, and I enjoy the process, you know. If you wait to enjoy the end result, sometimes it might be too late. So I have learned to enjoy the process itself of what it makes me to become. And what are the challenges? We have our share of, challenges, and I would say I've learned to look at them as opportunities. These are the opportunities for growth and to make us, excellent in what we're doing and to progress forward. Now, the first challenge, which I would say most of you share, is we are first-generation immigrants. So problems or challenges which are common to first-generation immigrants include shock. There's so many different ways of shocks which, you experience. The first, as we all know, is a cultural shock. The way people think, the way life is conducted in the United States is quite different from what we are used to. The way they see us and the way we see the people we interact with or the society in general, there is a major shock there. And especially when you get into the business world, there is even a greater shock there to realize that you look different, you speak different, and it is a whole world altogether. They say it's a doggy world out there, and true, it is very that kind of a shock, was quite a shocker. There is also financial shock, where you realize you do not have a financial base. You are an immigrant, you came here with your credentials and you don't really have good credit, you don't have a cash base. And remember when we were trying to purchase our campus, all the banks around us refused our proposal, to give us a loan. So we soon realized that the $2 million that we needed from the banks, there's no way of getting it. And lo and behold, God had a different way of, helping us. The very university which was selling the campus, this very university decided to finance us. So that to us was, one of the things that we learned, that there are so many ways. When one way or one door closes, many other doors open. We need to have that open mind to look at alternatives. There is also another shocker, which I call it a systematic shocker, whereby United States has set its systems different from the rest of the world. So the way of life, the systems, the processes, it took us more than 6 months. We already have rented the building for the regulators of a college to come out and do a site visit. You're not supposed to advertise. You're not supposed to hire anybody. You're not supposed to recruit students. And you don't know when they are going to come for a site visit. And if you complain, they say you cannot, start a school business if you are not financially stable. So that is the state of stability. We want to make sure that you're financially stable. So that to us, was a big shock. If you're not well planned, you can easily give up, because the systems, the way they are set, they're a little different from what we are used to. And there are many other things which I would say that, they will shock you as an immigrant. What needs to happen is to be very flexible in terms of how we approach life, realizing our dreams, and we have to be very, very quick to adjust ourselves. The other challenge I would say facing in putting together a campus or an academic program was what I term it as visioneer's syndrome. You become so lonely as a dreamer, and many times you will be misunderstood by people, and you become a misfit in a society or in a community. And to us, that was a big challenge, because otherwise, who do you go to ask? You are a pioneer, and either they think you're crazy, or you're just dreaming, or nobody really knows genuinely how to help you, because you're just talking over their head. So there is no role model out there that, we could go and ask some simple questions. How do you get started? How do you do it? And most universities around us are here. They're either 100 years or 70 years, and the founders of those universities are already dead. So who do you ask to start a university? So that to us, to plow through, to navigate the uncharted waters, that was very, very hard for us. And in terms of having somebody as a sounding board or a mentor was very, very, I'll say up till now, it's quite a challenge. The other thing which I feel that it's a challenge is time. I mean, there is basically no time. Time becomes a scarce commodity. There's no time to carry out other activities that I really like to do, like social life or personal, even family time, and doing my hobbies. once you put your hands into achieving such a dream, it takes a lot of time. And of all things, I normally tell my friends, spare me my time, because time becomes everything, you know. And the last challenge, I mean, there are many challenges which I could talk about, but there is this one which to me it's very real. It's our background coming from the third world to the first world. You know, we normally have that which we call a grasshopper mentality or grasshopper thinking. You know, every day I have to overcome the notion that I'm a second-class citizen. You know, that negative self-talk or inferiority complex or a defeated mindset. I have to battle that on a daily basis. I have to look at the mirror every day and say, I can do it. I am, I am a person of a vision, and I will make this, come true. I have to battle with that on a daily basis. Now, I have learned one thing, that, you can learn to swim against the current. And you might not be very popular when you're doing that. You are going against the norm, and people will look at you as a different, you're different, and who do you think you are? But I have learned that it is okay to be different. And that's what I teach my kids. We have to cherish being different. And instead of that being a weakness, I say I'm trying to make that to be a strength, that we are coming with a different spin. And I want to encourage you out there, if sometimes you're facing a challenge that they take you as being different. I mean, different is good. Different many times is good. In most cases, we have found that being different works for us, because you can hardly be stereotyped because you're different, and nobody really truly knows about you, and we use that to our advantage. To finish up, what are the lessons that we have learned in this process? I know I have a few minutes to finish. I would say, number one, I call it a dream test. Stick to your dream. And how do you do a litmus test to your dreams? Number one, your dream has to be so big that once you tell your friends, they think that you're crazy. That is a litmus test for the dream. And number two test is your dream has to span within 2 or 3, generations. Not only you, but your kids and your children's children have to be able to continue to perpetuate your dream. And you have the advantage of what we call the builders of the foundation. The higher the building, the deeper and the stronger the foundation. Many people have seen, especially in the diaspora community, they lose vision and direction because they dream so small. Some other people had a dream only to come to the United States. Once they realize that dream of coming to the United States, they have no purpose in life. And we are all witnesses of what is happening of the diaspora members without vision and life purpose. And I can attribute this 100% to the kind of dreams that they have. Some will dream only to have a PhD. Okay, now you have a PhD, so what? I believe that big dreams are the driving force for our life, basically to wake up in the morning to have something to do. Another lesson I have is call it a law of trade-off. What are we ready to sacrifice in order to, gain our dream or to realize our dreams and achieve our goals? Many times we want the rewards of a dream, but we do not really want the cost which we have to pay to realize those goals. So there is a trade-off of we should be able and ready to pay the cost, in terms of times and so sometimes we have to sacrifice our friends, things which are very dear to us. We have to sacrifice them in order to realize our dreams. And we have to really, really focus. I would say to make things happen, we have to be single in doing what we want to do. Put all your energy, be determined, and focus on what you want to do. Sometimes I found myself in what we call a home bubble. We want to do things back in Tanzania, and at the same time we want to do things here, and we spread ourselves very, very thin, so we become the jack of all trades. We are not very successful here. We are not doing anything which is impactful, and back in Tanzania we are just doing, very little small things, peanut services, I would say. And my advice is probably to focus where we have been planted, bloom where you are, then your aroma can go over to other places of the world. And lastly, we need to invest a lot on ourselves in terms of skills development, in terms of personal training and development. There is a lot to learn and a lot to make us better in order to achieve our dreams. And in conclusion, I would say that United States is still a land of opportunity. And if we really refine our focus and we put our priorities right and we connect to our dreams, still there is hope, and there is no need really to give up. America has been designed in such a way you can dream any kind of a dream, and in the United States it can happen. It can happen if we follow through. Now, as a university, there is a package we have put together for the members of Diaspora community. We evaluate their transcripts, and most of the time they come to me personally. I look at them and help to transfer. If you trained in, back at home or in other places, I will look at your transcripts and transfer credits, which some universities do, some don't, but we do. We normally waive the registration and application fee, and this is a special offer for the Tanzanian diaspora community that they will qualify for 15% of the tuition fee, which is already very, very reasonable. And you don't really need your social security number or your immigration papers for us to train you. So thank you very much again for your time, and I will return the floor to the organizers, and if there are any questions, I will be glad to entertain those. Again, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shallua. That was very inspirational and a wonderful conversation. In fact, I received one comment that says, your dream has to be too big for your friends to think you are crazy. Thank you for that reminder, Dr. Shallua. So we're very... Yeah, no, this was definitely a very good conversation. I'm definitely really impressed with what MECO is doing in terms of not just providing the education, but also having that agency and being able to use your students. So that's one way to make sure you're taking it from the classroom to the workforce. One other question that came through before I open it up to the floor was people were really interested in getting a good understanding of your CV. So I know you went through a little bit of that, but they wanted to get your background. What high school did you go to? When did you go there? What did you study? And just how were you able to fit all these accomplishments in such a short period of time?
I'll be glad to go on that bio. I went to Kazima Secondary School, which is in Tabora. I finished back in 1984. And amongst a few, we were selected to go to high school, and I attended Mazengo High School, studying physics, chemistry, and biology towards my dream of becoming a doctor. And from there, I had an opportunity to Sokoine University of Agriculture, the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. So I did my undergraduate and postgraduate there, and I had the opportunity to remain there as a tutorial assistant. And it was not as easy as I thought. And as I've said, you know, sometimes when you have a dream, winds will blow different direction, but you have to be able to use leverage of that wind, putting up the sail to make sure that that particular wind takes you to your destination. So I headed to Zimbabwe looking for a job, and I could not get a job. Many places I was told I was overqualified, or I was late, or, you know, different things. So I proceeded to Botswana. And before I realized I was jobless there, and there were times I was homeless before, you know, I started working very, very humble jobs. And I would say that to me was quite an experience, and I cherish that kind of an experience because it taught me you know, how to make those baby steps and continue to focus on the dream and working out different alternatives. You know, I worked in a chicken farm, I started my own practice, and then I worked for a non-for-profit organization that helped what we, you know, the people, we call them Bushmen, to integrate them in the mainstream economy. But my all along, since when I was in secondary school, was to come to America and make a difference. So once I got a job in Botswana, I started the savings, you know, to finance my air ticket and coming to United States. And that's what I did. After 5 years working in Botswana, I had enough cash to finance myself, my wife Dorothy, and our firstborn. By then she was 2 years old, and we landed in the United States back in the year 2000. And that's when we began another journey of adjusting to American life. And I would say, yes, it has been a rough going, but all along, as I've said, you have to maintain focus on your dream, don't give up, and also always, always, always trust in God and believe in yourself.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shallua. Now I'm going to turn on the mic so that if anybody has any questions, you can ask a question. Let's see. Hello? Just checking to see if audio is on. Okay. So one other question that has come up was around again the sort of like the experience that you had when you. One of the questions that's come up is around the school that you're building in Tanzania. I believe you mentioned it. I'm going to give us some more information about how that's going.
I think the baby was trying to help James. So if you can reiterate. Yes. Okay. You do mind asking again?
Oh, it was about Kigamboni, yes. How is that going with Kigamboni? Yeah.
Okay. Right now we are planning to put together a campus in Tanzania, and we have 20 acres at Kigamboni, which I purchased about 10, 11 years ago, and it has never been without a problem as usual, but at least now we are moving forward. The goal is to put together a university, a very simple university with an American system, because we've seen so many parents will want their children to have an American education, and it's very expensive to, finance or get scholarship to come to the United States. So we decided to take a piece of an American education and put it right there in Tanzania. So either people who want to do undergraduate, or those who want to do postgraduate, and they want an American experience, American way of thinking. So we are putting together a campus right there in Kigamboni. We are designing the campus right now, and we are working with Tanzania Commission of Universities because they are the ones who give licenses to, their regulatory body which accredits any university that wants to operate in Tanzania. And we are keeping our fingers crossed and in prayer that it will go through, and soon we will start enrolling students right there in Tanzania. But nevertheless, we are open right now to students who are anywhere in the world, because some of our programs are online, and Tanzanians or whoever they are anywhere, they can enroll online and they can start taking our courses wherever they are. We are using technologies these days. They can use their cell phones, tablets, iPad, computer to get access to subject matter anytime and to interact with their professors. So the goal is to make education available at the grassroots level. We don't need people to really stoop so high to reach the education. We want to bring the education very low at their level, that it will be accessible to everybody.
Thank you very much for that. And Frank, I'm sorry, you're off mute, so please ask your question.
Thank you very much, Nani, Dr. Shallua, for the presentation. Very, very inspirational. My question is regarding your current financing for your university in North Carolina. You had mentioned that you were seeking $2 million capital to get started, but somehow you made an arrangement with the previous owners and so forth. So are you renting your premises? Did you end up taking a loan? How are you financing your operations in North Carolina at the moment?
I would say that's a very good question. That is where there is a lot to be learned. We use alternative ways to finance buying the facility. Partly the owner financed it, so we are not renting. We basically own the building and we are paying mortgage to the owner, which is University of High Point. And secondly, we financed it from our pocket. We had to, dig so deep in our pockets, use our savings, and use other businesses that we have. I didn't have time to go into the details of other things that I had to learn in order to supplement the financial needs of running such an operation. I would say classrooms doesn't have a lot of money, and there is a lot of sacrifice, and we are using a home care business which my wife is running. My wife is a nurse by trade, and she's also a director and the CEO of the healthcare agency. That is what is used to supplement the financial burden which the university is still, we're still growing, and we believe soon we'll be able to break even and make profit. But at the moment we are using alternative ways and alternative means like lean kind of management and other financial strategies to minimize the costs to run our operations. So we are at a very, very, tight budget, I would say, and it calls for, I would say, possibility thinking and a very creative thinking to run such an operation with very, very minimal budget. I don't know if I've answered your question.
No, I appreciate it. Definitely a lot of insight into that. And I'm just wondering, last question is, did you go back to the bank? You have an operation up and running to consider getting another loan, especially given that the rates now are fairly low?
That's a good question, Frank. My wife and I have a philosophy of, trying to stay out of debt, and it might sound crazy, but the only debt that we can consider is mortgage, and we don't take loans for any other thing. We will rather wait and take baby steps, grow the business very slowly rather than burdening ourselves with a loan. And if anything happens, you put lots of other things in danger. And at the moment, that is the only loan that we have. It's a mortgage. And we are trying to, hold our breath, run at minimal expenses, try to have any other strategy running the business without taking a loan.
Asante, nashukuru.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shallua. In the last 3 minutes, I would like to turn it over to Nisa Kibona, who is the Deputy Secretary of our Executive Committee, to provide some closing remarks. Nisa, karibu.
Asante, Jessica. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Dr. Shallua, for the inspiration story. I know as the Diaspora we have been challenged, so I encourage everybody and everybody on the call to really stay focused. Don't give up on him, and let's share all this great story. Let's support one another. Asanteni sana.
Asante.
Thank you very much, Nisa. And Nisa has also kindly placed the link to Mount Eagle on our website. You'll also find some more information about Dr. Shallua on our website, as well as you'll be able to reach the Mount Eagle website. So definitely this is not the end of the conversation, and if you have any questions, please definitely reach out to us, and we'll make sure that he gets those questions so that he can answer them for you at that time. Again, Dr. Shallua, as Nisa and Lunda said earlier, karibu to DICOTA, and thank you so much for your support, and thank you for coming here to share your story. And for all the participants, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and listen to this conversation. We hope you found it informative and inspirational. And stay tuned for our next webinar, which we will send out information on in due course. Asanteni wote, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Jessica, I have one final plug, if I may.
Sure, Lunda, karibu.
Yes. For all of you on the call, again, thank you. What I would like to ask is, I know most of you attended this call because this was a subject of interest. Please, please, please share with others that you were on this call. Tell what you heard, how this was informative, and let others know that this is a webinar series that's ongoing. We have a number of topics that we plan to feature in the past. So if you're in WhatsApp groups or any type of Facebook groups or any other type of that you participate in, please share the fact that you were with us today, and it only took an hour of your time, but you got some really good information, and there's more type of information to come. Or if there are topics that people would like to hear, please funnel those ideas to us, and we will make every effort to provide opportunities to share those stories. Asanteni.
And this webinar will be on our website for people to replay at a later. Thank you so much, Dr. Shallua. We will be in touch shortly.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for having me.
This will complete our call.